My beloved brothers and sisters, we are living in a time where distractions are many, worries are heavy, and hearts are restless. Everyone is searching for peace. Some look for it in money, some in status, some in entertainment. But true peace was sent down from the heavens. It is found in the words of Allah. There is a short surah in the Quran that many of us know by heart. It is simple. It is brief. Even a child can memorize it. Yet its weight on the scale on the day of judgment is immense. I am speaking about Surah Al-Ikhlas. The Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam informed us that this surah is equal to 1/3 of the Quran in reward. Imagine that, 1/3, and some of us rush through it without reflection. Now imagine reciting it 10 times. 10 times, do you understand what that means in terms of reward? The generosity of Allah is beyond our imagination. When you recite Kula Allahu Ahad, you are declaring the oneness of Allah. You are affirming that He is unique, perfect, independent. Allahu Samad. He is the one everyone depends on. Yet He depends on no one. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He neither begets nor is born. Wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. There is nothing comparable to Him. Each repetition strengthens your tawheed. Each repetition cleans a layer of rust from the heart. Each repetition reminds you who is truly in control of your life. When you recite this surah 10 times with sincerity, you are not just moving your tongue. You are building something eternal. There are narrations that mention that whoever recites it 10 times, Allah builds for them a house in Jannah, a house in paradise. Think about how long we work to build a house in this Dunya. Years of savings, stress, loans, planning. But for Jannah, 10 sincere recitations. But here is the key, my brothers and sisters. It is not about speed. It is not about competition. It is about sincerity. You can recite it 10 times in 2 or 3 minutes. But if your heart is present, if you truly mean what you say, it changes you. When you are anxious, recite it 10 times. When you feel afraid about your future, recite it 10 times. When you wake up in the morning before you sleep at night, while driving, while waiting, let your tongue remain moist with the remembrance of Allah. You will begin to notice something beautiful. Your dependence on people will decrease. Your fear of creation will decrease. Why? Because you are constantly reminding yourself, Allah is one, Allah is sufficient, Allah is in control. And let me remind you of something powerful. The reward is multiplied not just by repetition, but by intention. If you say, "Oh Allah, I am reciting this seeking your pleasure, seeking closeness to you, seeking protection, seeking Jannah," your reward increases. Allah looks at your heart. Do not underestimate small deeds done consistently. Shaitan wants you to think it's just a short surah. It's nothing big. But the small deeds done regularly are beloved to Allah. A few minutes every day could mean the difference between regret and joy on the day of judgment. So I challenge you today, starting from tonight, recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 10 times before you sleep. Teach it to your children. Remind your spouse. Make it a family habit. And watch how Allah opens doors for you. Doors of tranquility, doors of barakah, doors of protection. Do not miss out. The opportunity is simple. The reward is massive. The effort is minimal. The impact is eternal. May Allah make us from those who love His words, live by His words, and are raised among the people of the Quran. Amen. My beloved brothers and sisters, when we speak about the power of consistent Quran recitation in daily life, we are speaking about something far deeper than simply reading words from a page. We are speaking about a relationship. The Quran is not just a book placed on a shelf. It is the speech of Allah revealed as guidance, light, healing, and mercy. When a believer connects with it consistently, even in small amounts, that connection begins to shape their entire existence. Consistency is the key. Many of us wait for special moments, Ramadan, a Friday, a time of hardship, to open the Quran. But imagine if the Quran was part of your daily rhythm, like eating and sleeping. Just as your body cannot survive without nourishment, your soul cannot survive without revelation. A few verses a day, a short surah repeated regularly, can transform the heart in ways you cannot immediately see. When you recite daily, even if it is brief, you are reminding yourself who you are and who your Lord is. You are recalibrating your priorities. You are recalibrating your priorities. The world constantly pulls you in different directions. Work pressures, financial worries, social expectations. The Quran pulls you back to balance. It reminds you that this life is temporary and the hereafter is eternal. It reminds you that Allah sees your struggle, hears your dua, and knows what is hidden in your chest. There is something powerful about starting your day with the Quran. Before the noise of the world enters your ears, let the words of Allah enter your heart. Before social media shapes your mood, let revelation shape your mindset. When you begin your day with even a few minutes of recitation, you carry that light with you into your interactions, your decisions, and your challenges. And when you end your day with the Quran, it acts as a shield. After facing temptations, frustrations, and mistakes, returning to the words of Allah softens the heart. It becomes a means of forgiveness and reflection. It protects you as you sleep, and it plants seeds of peace within your chest. Consistency also builds discipline. Shaitan loves extremes. He encourages you to do a lot one day and then nothing for a week. But Islam teaches us balance. The most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if small. A page a day, a short surah repeated 10 times, a few minutes after Fajr or before bed. Small actions done daily become mountains on the scale. Over time, consistent recitation changes your reactions. You become more patient because you have been reminded that Allah is most wise. You become more grateful because you have been reminded of His countless blessings. You become more hopeful because you have been reminded of His mercy. The Quran begins to live within you. It shapes your character. There is also a unique tranquility that comes from repetition. When you recite the same surah daily, its meanings sink deeper. Words you have known since childhood suddenly feel personal. A verse you have read hundreds of times suddenly speaks directly to your current situation. That is the miracle of the Quran. It remains relevant to every generation and every individual heart. Do not underestimate the ripple effect a parent who recites daily inspires their children without even lecturing them. A family that gathers for a few minutes of Quran creates an atmosphere of barakah in the home. Angels descend where the Quran is recited. Mercy surrounds those gatherings. So make it part of your identity. You are not just someone. He who reads Quran occasionally. You are a person of Quran. Even if it is 5 minutes a day. Guard it. Protect it. Prioritize it. Because when you are consistent with the Quran will stand for you when you need it most. On the day when nothing else will matter except your connection with Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, when we speak about the special virtue of repeating a short but powerful surah, we are uncovering one of the greatest mercies of Allah upon this ummah. Not everyone can recite long portions of the Quran daily. Not everyone understands Arabic deeply. Not everyone has hours to dedicate each day. Yet Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, placed immense reward in short passages that even a child can memorize. This is not coincidence. This is divine generosity. Take, for example, Surah Al-Ikhlas, 4 short verses, simple words, easy to memorize, yet its meaning carries the essence of Tawheed, the absolute oneness and perfection of Allah. When you repeat it, you are not just reciting, you are renewing your faith, you are declaring again and again that Allah is one, unique, independent, eternal, unmatched. Why repetition? Because the human heart forgets. We live in a world filled with subtle forms of distraction and attachment. Sometimes we begin to rely too much on people, on wealth, on status, on plans. When you repeat a surah that affirms bro, that's a bit low. Allah's oneness and independence. You are correcting your heart gently but consistently. You are reminding yourself that everything else is temporary and dependent, while Allah alone is eternal and self-sufficient. There is something powerful about short surahs. They remove excuses. You cannot say, I don't have time. You cannot say, it is too difficult. It may take less than a minute to recite it once. 10 times may take only a few minutes. Yet the reward and impact are beyond measure. The Prophet ﷺ informed us of the immense reward attached to this surah, and that alone should make us pause and reflect. When Allah and His Messenger highlight something, it is because it holds tremendous benefit for us. Repetition also engraves meaning into the heart. The first time you say the words, they pass your tongue. The second time, they begin to settle. By the 5th or 10th time, if you are attentive, they begin to echo inside you. Allah Samad, Allah is the one everyone turns to. Suddenly you realize that in your own life, you turn to so many things before you turn to Him. Repeating it 10 times becomes a quiet spiritual correction. Furthermore, repetition builds love. When you repeat something often, you grow attached to it. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ, so much that they would repeat them frequently in prayer. That love was not random. It was rooted in understanding and reflection. When you repeat a short but powerful surah daily, it becomes familiar, comforting. It becomes your companion in moments of fear, sadness, and gratitude. There is also a hidden wisdom in focusing on one short surah regularly. Instead of overwhelming yourself with quantity, you build depth. You begin to reflect on each word. You begin to ask yourself, do I truly believe this? Do I truly live by this? The repetition forces contemplation. And let us not forget the generosity of Allah. Sometimes we think big rewards must come from big actions. But Allah teaches us that sincerity magnifies even the smallest deeds. A short surah recited with presence of heart can outweigh long recitations done absent-mindedly. The scale on the day of judgment is not measured by length alone, but by sincerity and consistency. So do not belittle short surahs. Do not rush through them mechanically. Choose one, especially one whose virtue is well known, and make it part of your daily routine. Repeat it 10 times with intention. Let every repetition strengthen your faith, purify your heart, and renew your commitment to Allah. You may see it as a small act, but with Allah, it may be the very deed that tips your scale toward eternal success. My beloved brothers and sisters, when we speak about spiritual protection and multiplied reward, we are speaking about something every single one of us is desperately in need of, whether we realize it or not. We walk through a world filled with unseen dangers, not just physical harm, but spiritual harm. There are whispers that attack your faith, temptations that weaken your resolve, doubts that creep quietly into the heart. And yet Allah, in His mercy, did not leave us exposed. He gave us protection through His words. When you consistently recite powerful surahs from the Quran, especially those known for their virtues, you are surrounding yourself with a shield. Not a physical shield that people can see, but a spiritual one that protects your heart, your mind, your home, and your akhirah. The words of Allah are not ordinary words. They carry light. They carry barakah. They carry divine protection. Take again the example of Surah Al-Ikhlas. It is a declaration of pure Tawheed, and Tawheed is the greatest protection a believer can have. When your heart is firmly attached to the oneness of Allah, the whispers of shaitan lose their strength. When you deeply internalize that Allah is As-Samad, the one everyone depends on, your fear of people decreases. Your anxiety about provision decreases. Your dependence on creation weakens, because your reliance on the Creator strengthens. Spiritual protection is not always about dramatic moments. Sometimes it is subtle. You were about to say something hurtful, but you held back. You were about to fall into a sin, but something stopped you. You were overwhelmed with worry, but suddenly you felt calm. These are forms of protection. And the consistent remembrance of Allah plays a huge role in inviting that protection into your life. Then there is the concept of multiplied reward. We often think in worldly terms. If I work 1 hour, I get paid for 1 hour. If I invest a small amount, I expect a small return. But Allah does not deal with us like that. With Him, one small deed can equal mountains of reward. One short surah can equal 1/3 of the Quran in reward. 10 repetitions can result in something unimaginable in the hereafter. There are narrations that mention the building of a house in Jannah for the one who recites certain surahs a specific number of times. Think about that for a moment. In this world, building a house requires years of effort, planning, and expense. But in the hereafter, a few minutes of sincere recitation can be the cause of a palace that lasts forever. This is not because of the length of the recitation, but because of the generosity of the one who rewards it. And here is something powerful to reflect upon. The reward is multiplied when the deed is done with sincerity and consistency. If you recite 10 times today and forget for a month, you have gained reward. But if you make it part of your daily routine, morning and evening, imagine how your scale will look after years. Imagine meeting Allah with thousands upon thousands of recitations recorded, each one affirming His oneness. Spiritual protection also extends to your family. When you recite regularly in your home, you invite tranquility into that space. Homes in which the Quran is recited are described as illuminated. The atmosphere cha. G's arguments decrease, hearts soften. Even if problems arise, they are handled with more patience and wisdom. Do not underestimate unseen protection. Many times, Allah protects you from things you never even know about. Perhaps a calamity was written, but your remembrance of Him became a means of its removal. Perhaps a test was lightened because you were consistent in reciting His words. We may never fully know in this world, but we trust in His promise. So when you recite that surah 10 times, do not think it is just repetition. Think of it as building your fortress. Think of it as depositing eternal reward into your account. Think of it as securing your place in a home that no eye has seen and no mind can imagine. The effort is small, but the protection is real and the reward is multiplied beyond what we can comprehend. My dear brothers and sisters, repetition is not merely about increasing numbers. It is about transformation. When we speak about how repetition transforms the heart and mindset, we are speaking about a process that happens quietly, gradually, and beautifully. The heart does not change overnight. It softens with consistent reminders, and one of the most powerful reminders is the repeated recitation of Allah's words. When you recite a short surah once, it passes over your tongue. When you recite it twice, it begins to echo slightly within you. But when I repeat it 10 times with reflection, something deeper happens. The meanings begin to settle. They begin to challenge your thinking. They begin to reshape your priorities. Consider once more Surah Al-Ikhlas. It revolves entirely around the oneness, perfection, and independence of Allah. If you repeat this surah 10 times daily, you are reinforcing a powerful belief system. You are reminding yourself repeatedly that Allah is one, unique, unmatched, and completely self-sufficient. Over time, this repetition corrects subtle distortions in your mindset. For example, when a difficulty strikes, the natural human reaction is panic. What will happen to me? How will I fix this? But when your heart has been trained daily to declare that Allah is as-Samad, the one everyone depends upon, your reaction begins to change. Instead of panic, you feel reliance. Instead of despair, you feel hope. Instead of anger, you feel surrender. Repetition builds certainty. Doubts often creep in because the heart is not constantly nourished with truth. Just as negative messages repeated again and again can shape a person's thinking, divine words repeated again and again shape the believer's worldview. You begin to see life differently. Success is no longer just wealth or recognition. Failure is no longer just worldly loss. Your scale of judgment shifts toward what pleases Allah. There is also an emotional transformation that occurs. Many people struggle with anxiety, comparison, and insecurity. They measure themselves against others constantly. But when you repeat a surah affirming that nothing is comparable to Allah, you internalize a powerful lesson. True greatness belongs only to Him. You stop seeking ultimate validation from people. You stop exhausting yourself trying to impress creation. Your heart finds relief in knowing that your worth lies in your relationship with your Creator. Repetition also increases mindfulness. The first few times you recite, you may be distracted. But as you discipline yourself to focus, your concentration improves. You begin to pronounce each word carefully. You think about what you are saying. This mindfulness spills over into other acts of worship. Your salah becomes more attentive. Your dawah becomes more heartfelt. Your remembrance becomes more conscious. And let us not forget the cleansing effect. The heart accumulates stains through sins, heedlessness, and constant exposure to negativity. The Quran is described as a healing, but healing often requires consistent dosage. If you take medicine once and stop, the illness may remain. But when you take it regularly as prescribed, recovery begins. Repeating a powerful surah daily acts like a steady spiritual treatment for the heart. Over time, you will notice subtle changes. You react with more patience. You forgive more easily. You complain less. You trust more. You become calmer in situations that would have once disturbed you deeply. These are signs that the words you repeat are not just sounds. They are transforming your inner world. So do not underestimate repetition. Do not think it is unnecessary to say the same surah multiple times. With each repetition, you are carving its meaning into your heart. You are reshaping your mindset. You are strengthening your faith muscle. And slowly but surely, you are becoming a person whose thoughts, reactions, and emotions are aligned with the truth of Allah's oneness and perfection. That is real transformation. My beloved brothers and sisters, when we speak about the connection between intention and impact, we are speaking about the very soul of every action in Islam. Two people can perform the exact same deed outwardly, recite the exact same words, even the same number of times. Yet the reward between them can be like the distance between the heavens and the earth. What makes the difference? It is the intention. It is the state of the heart. The Prophet taught us that actions are judged by intentions. This means that before your tongue even moves to recite a surah, your heart has already determined the value of what you are about to do. Are you reciting because it is a habit, because someone told you to, because you want to finish quickly? Or are you reciting because you genuinely seek the pleasure of Allah, closeness to Him, forgiveness from Him, and reward in the hereafter? Take something simple like repeating Surah Al-Kifli, Surah Al-Ikhlas 10 times. On the surface, it may seem like a small act, 4 short verses repeated. But if your intention is alive, the impact becomes immense. When you say, Kul huwa Allah ahad, and your heart says, Oh Allah, I truly believe you are one. That declaration strengthens your faith. When you say, Allahu Samad, and your heart whispers, Oh Allah, I depend only on you, that moment of sincerity builds reliance. When your intention is to draw closer to Allah, every repetition becomes an act of love. Intention also multiplies reward in ways we cannot calculate. You might recite 10 times seeking Jannah. That is a noble intention. You might recite seeking protection from trials. That too is noble. You might recite seeking forgiveness for your past sins. You might recite on behalf of your parents, hoping Allah raises their ranks. Each additional sincere intention adds layers of reward. The same action, but the impact expands because the heart is engaged. There is something else powerful about intention. It protects your deeds from becoming empty rituals. Shaitan does not always try to stop you from doing good. Sometimes he is content with you doing it mechanically. He wants you to recite without reflection, to repeat without presence, to repeat without feeling. But when you consciously renew your intention before reciting, you push back against that emptiness. Before you begin, pause for a second. Tell yourself, I am doing this for Allah alone. I want His pleasure. I want His reward. I want His closeness. That brief pause transforms the act. Suddenly, it is no longer just repetition. It is devotion. And here is something beautiful. Even your worldly struggles can be connected to your intention. If you are stressed about provision and you recite seeking barakah in your sustenance, your act becomes tied to your real life concerns. If you are anxious about your family and you recite asking Allah to protect them, your worship becomes deeply personal. This sincerity is what makes the Quran feel alive in your life. Intention also determines consistency. When your reason for reciting is strong, you are less likely to abandon it. If you truly believe that every repetition is building something for you in the hereafter, you will guard it carefully. If you see it as just another task, you will neglect it when you feel tired. So never underestimate the power of Naya. Do not rush into recitation without preparing your heart. The tongue may move quickly, but the heart must lead. When intention is pure, the smallest deed can carry enormous weight. And when you stand before Allah one day, it will not only be the number of times you recited that matters, but the sincerity with which you did so. That sincerity is what transforms a few minutes of recitation into an eternal impact. My dear brothers and sisters, knowledge without action benefits very little. We can speak about virtues, rewards, protection, and transformation all day long. B. Youth, if it does not translate into something practical in our daily routine, it remains theory. That is why the final and most important step is to take up a personal challenge to make this recitation a consistent part of your life. We often feel motivated in the moment. We listen to a reminder, we feel inspired, and we say to ourselves, from tomorrow, I will change everything. But lasting change does not come from grand, unrealistic promises. It comes from small, manageable commitments that you guard carefully. If you decide today that you will recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 10 times every single day, you have chosen something simple, achievable, and powerful. Do not overcomplicate it. Tie it to a specific moment. For example, decide that After Fajr, you will sit for 2 or 3 minutes and complete your 10 recitations. Or make it part of your bedtime routine. Before you pick up your phone, before you close your eyes, sit up and recite it 10 times with presence. By attaching it to an existing habit, you make it easier to maintain. Consistency is more beloved to Allah than intensity without continuity. If you can guard these few minutes daily for a year, imagine how many times you will have recited. Imagine the reward accumulated quietly in your record. Imagine meeting Allah and finding thousands of recitations you may have forgotten about, but He never forgot now. This challenge is not only for you individually. Bring your family into it. Gather your children and say, let us recite together. It will take less than 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes could plant seeds of love for the Quran in their hearts. Your home becomes a place where Allah is remembered regularly. The atmosphere changes when remembrance becomes normal in a household. You may miss a day. You are human. If that happens, do not allow Shaitan to whisper, you failed, so stop completely. No. Simply resume the next day. The goal is long-term consistency, not perfection. Every time you return to it after forgetting, you are proving your sincerity. Another powerful way to strengthen this habit is to track it. Mark it mentally or physically. Remind yourself of your intention daily. Before you begin, renew it. Oh Allah, I am doing this, seeking your pleasure and your reward. This brief renewal keeps the act alive and prevents it from becoming robotic. And reflect on this. In our worldly lives, we schedule meetings, deadlines, and appointments carefully. We do not forget important commitments because we value them. So value this commitment with Allah. Guard it like you guard your most important responsibility. After all, this is an investment in eternity. The beauty of this challenge is that it requires so little but offers so much. You are not being asked to spend hours. You are not being asked to do something beyond your capacity. You are being invited to hold firmly to a small, consistent act that could tip your scale on the day of judgment. So begin tonight. Do not delay. Do not say, I will start next week. Shaitan loves postponement. Start with sincerity, continue with consistency, and ask Allah for steadfastness. A few minutes every day may not seem significant in this world, but in the hereafter, it may be the very deed that changes your destination forever. May Allah grant us the ability to act upon what we learn and remain firm upon it. Ameen. My beloved brothers and sisters, as we come to the end of this reminder, let us remember something simple yet powerful. Allah has made the path to Jannah easier than we think, but we are the ones who complicate it. He has placed immense reward in small, consistent deeds. He has hidden treasures in short surahs. He has attached eternal homes in paradise to a few sincere minutes of remembrance. When you recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 10 times, you are not just repeating words. You are declaring the oneness of Allah. You are declaring the oneness of Allah. You are strengthening your tawheed. You are building protection around your heart. You are investing in your akhirah. You are inviting tranquility into your life. And most importantly, you are drawing closer to the one who created you. Do not underestimate what seems small. On the day of judgment, you will not regret the time you spent remembering Allah. You will not regret the minutes you dedicated to His words. You will regret the opportunities you ignored. So take this as your turning point. Make it part of your daily life. Guard it, protect it, perform it with sincerity and presence. And ask Allah to accept it from you, because acceptance is greater than the deed itself. May Allah make us from the people of the Quran, those who recite it, reflect upon it, live by it, and are raised with it. May He build for us homes in Jannah, forgive our shortcomings, and keep our hearts firm upon His oneness until we meet Him. Ameen.